Hello, this is Lucas. Welcome to another Java tutorial. In this video, we will be going over the iterator. Now, an iterator is just an object that we can create, and it's used to loop through collections such as hash sets, array lists, linked lists, and so on that we went over in the last few videos. So I created an array list here, and I just added a couple of names. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using the iterator to loop through this array list that we have here. So to get started, we need to import the iterator. Now the iterator is in the Java util class. So one way of doing it is we can just import everything from there, and that will import the iterator. Or let's say if we just want to use the iterator, we can just import that specifically. So we just do import java.util, and then we just put in iterator like this, and this will import the iterator that we're going to be using. So now we need to create an iterator object basically. So we'll do iterator. Okay, so we do iterator, and then we need to specify what we're going to be looping through. Alright, so you can see that we want to loop through names. We want to loop through this list, and you can see that this list contains strings, so we need to pass in string in here. Obviously, if we have an array list that contains integers, we'll have to put an integer in here. So, and then we need to give it a name. I'm going to do it, just it's short for iterator. It's just behind here, and then we can equal that to whatever we want to loop through. So we want to loop through this array list. So the name of this array list is names. So we just put in names, and then we'll do a dot, and then we do iterator, just like this. Okay, and that is basically it. Here is the iterator that we're going to be using for our names collection that we have. As I said again, we're using an array list, but this iterator can be used for a lot of different collections like hash sets, hash maps, linked lists, and so on. So yeah, so once we have the iterator created from our array list, from our collection, the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to print out the next value. So we're going to start off with the very first value, and we're going to print it out. So we're going to do sysout, okay, and then we're going to call the it that we have here, and then we're going to do dot next. And what this does is it just gets the next item in our collection. So if I print this out, you can see we get Thomas, and Thomas is the very first one that we did. Now if I print this again, a second time, you can see we get Thomas and then we get John. That's because we printed out the next value here, but then we went on to the next value, which is John. So that's the way that the iterator works. Now, let's say we want to loop through this entire collection here. So we can keep one of these, but what we can do is we can create a while loop in here. Now inside this while loop, what we'll do is we'll do it that we have specified as our iterator, and then we'll do dot has next. And what this does is, until this iterator has items to iterate through to loop through, it will continue this while loop. So if we print this out, you can see we get every single name from this collection, because the way it works is, while our iterator has a next item, if there's an item next, this will be true, and then we'll just print this out, and then this iterator will move on to the next item. So whenever we get to here, okay, this is going to be true because our iterator has a next value. Okay, then that means we are going to print out the next one, which is Sam. But then when we go back to the while loop, we are on this point. There's nothing next in this collection, meaning this is false, and we will no longer print it out. As easy as that. Now, let's say we want to remove something from this list. Very easy way to do this as well. So we'll leave this the way it is, and we'll leave everything the way it is. But now inside of this while loop here, well, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new string. All right, and this string, let's change this around. Let's do integers now. All right. So I'm going to change this to integer. Okay, and I'm going to put an integer in here. We're going to change these out. I'm going to do ages now, just to change it up, I'm going to change all of these to this. This also has to be an integer, like that. And then we can just pass in a couple of values like 21. Then we'll pass in 22. We'll do 41. And then we'll do something like 10. Something like that. So now we have an array list full of integers that we're going to be looping through with the integer or the iterator, and we're going to be removing a few. So some cool that I'm going to do now. So I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to create a new integer here. Alright, we'll just name it I, because that's what I always name my iterators. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to equal that to it.next. Now the reason why we're doing this is what's going to happen is we're going to start off at the very first value. Well, actually we're going to start off at 0, so it's going to be no value. Now we're going to go to this while loop, and if our iterator has a next value, so we are on, let's say we are on this point, we are on no value, okay? This will check if has a next value. It does have a next value. We're still at this point. But then what we're going to do is, on this line, we're going to set the next value. So we are here. We're going to set this value, which is 21, as our integer I. So now, I becomes 21. Okay, and now we move on to this index here, because we call the it next. Whenever we call the next, what that does is it just moves one index, so it moves to this index. If we call this again, then we'll move from here to here, and then we will store that value as I. So the first iteration in this while loop, I will be started as 21, then the next one will be 22, then 41, and then 10. Okay, and now what we're going to do is we're going to do something like, I'll create an if statement here, and we'll just do if I is less than, so let's say we want to remove all ages that are, let's say that are above 20, something like that. And then what we can do is we can do it.remove. Now you see, we don't actually have to specify what index or what value we want to remove. Because the way this works is I will get started as 21, okay? But our iterator is on this index here. So the very first iteration of this while loop, I will be started as 21. And because we called the next method here, our iterator will be pointed to this index here. Now if I, so 21, if that's above 20, so 21 is above 20, we are going to remove what index our iterator is pointing at. So our iterator is pointed at 21, and then if that value is above 20, we will remove whatever index our iterator is pointed to, so we will remove this one. And then you can see at the very end of this while loop, well, after the while loop, you can just print out the values, and then I can just print out ages like this, and then we can save that and we can run it, and you can see we only get 10 because these three values at the start are above 20, and you can see that our iterator removed that. So that's about it for this video. I hope this helped, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.